Would you like to live a long and healthy life? Of course. The National Institutes of Health has spent tens of billions of your taxpayer dollars sequencing the human genome and investigating the effects of human genetic variation on health. But has your doctor offered to sequence your genome yet? No, he hasn't. Why not? Because it's too expensive. I'm Paul Szauter with ElectroSeq. We're building a machine that will sequence your genome for $100. The size of the sequencing machine and consumables market in the United States is expected to grow to $1.2 billion in 2017. The revenue model is razors and blades. They buy the razors, they have to buy the blades. Our contribution to this is a sensor array built on a semiconductor platform. The patent holders are two researchers at the University of New Mexico, one of them at the Cancer Center, the other at the Center for High-Tech Materials. There is competition in this industry. The industry is currently dominated by two large players, both of them using technology that was developed several years ago. That technology is not getting cheaper, and both of those companies are vulnerable to disruptive innovation as represented by ElectroSeq. So think of our sensor arrays as a collection of very small test tubes, each of which is running sequencing reactions on an individually amplified DNA molecule. Our patented sensors are 160 times more sensitive than the currently available semiconductor platform sequencing system. This increased sensitivity allows us to build the sensor arrays at much higher density. Our goal is to build a 10 billion sensor array, which will be able to sequence 10 human genomes in one run at a cost of $100 a genome. That's the cost of routine blood work from your physician. My ask today is we're looking for investors that would like to fund the development and fabrication of our chips. And for the rest of you, I'd like to say, when your physician asks you your family history, tell them you're carrying it with you. You're carrying a family history going back generations. It's your genome. ElectroSeq. Yep. So the question is, what kind of reimbursements exist for genetic sequencing for healthcare providers? So there are currently 3 big applications, even with sequencing being as expensive as it is. So the first application is the only real application of whole genome sequencing, and that's in pediatrics. So there are about 3,000 or 4,000 inherited genetic conditions that are due to single mutations. And often when a child is born with a condition that looks like it might be inherited, we don't know what gene it is. So we haven't identified all the common alleles. That's a research project, okay? So about 50% of the time we're able to identify a causative gene and possibly devise a treatment. The other applications in genomics are cancer and pharmacogenomics. And in those applications, specific gene sets that have already been studied are amplified and sequenced. So it's not whole genome sequencing, and it's not a research project. Only provable, druggable targets are amplified and sequenced. Those are cost effective. For cancer, it's becoming the standard of care to sequence the targeting molecules. Within 10 or 20 years, there probably won't be any more chemotherapy and radiation. All cancer will be treated with specific drug therapies targeted at the genomic changes that are causing the tumor. With a better outcome, I should say. Yep. The cost of labor and reagents to operate the machine is $100. So the cost of the machinery would probably be on the order of $100,000. There's a comparable system now that costs. So there's a sample prep machine, there's this machine that works with the chip, and there's a computer on the other end.
But you're going to sell it for more than that?
Oh yes, I mean the person would pay more than that. Yep.
The data that people with genetic disease disposition have been treated with finding out the genome sequence. What does that data say?
Okay, so the question is, when people have a whole genome sequence, what treatments are there and what does data say about that? I'll tell you, in general, the answer is that the average person who has his genome sequenced right now finds one actionable medical finding. My genome was sequenced in 2012. My actionable finding is that I'm predisposed to hemochromatosis. There's no family history. I don't properly regulate iron uptake from my diet. And if I don't want to have multiple organ failure, I had to change my diet. and donate at the blood bank frequently, which I get movie credits and DVDs and things for. So it's very simple prevention.